Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Todd and Julie Chrisley break silence on Lindsie Chrisley's tell-all podcast about their family. Todd Chrisley is ready to respond to Lindsie Chrisley's tell-all podcast about their family. We found out this morning through our attorneys that Lindsie had been working with Kale Lowry on this three-part podcast, Todd 56, shared on the Wednesday, October 29th, episode of the Chrisley Confessions podcast. Don't forget, she has tagged Patreon because we're going to give you content for free. She wants you to pay to get content for receipts. I'm going to give you receipts for free. Although Todd recorded the podcast with his wife, Julie Chrisley, and their son Chase Chrisley on October 21st, the Chrisley Knows Best alum wanted to speak out before Lindsie's podcast was released on October 22nd. I don't know many ways you can spin this *****, he said about his estranged daughter's podcast. I'm over it. I'm not talking about this stuff anymore. Chrisley Knows Best premiered in 2014 and followed the unpredictable life of Todd and his family. While Lindsie, 36, helped launch the show, she made her final appearance in Season 5. Since then, Lindsie has been estranged from several Chrisley family members. Lindsie has continued to deny being involved in having her father prosecuted on fraud charges. In the latest podcast, however, Todd claimed, "That's just not true." Most recently, Lindsie didn't appear in Lifetime's docuseries titled The Chrisleys, Back to Reality. She has since addressed some of the storylines on the Southern Tea podcast and Lowry's Coffee Convos podcast. It's unfortunate that we have to get up to this again, and we have to start addressing the same ***** that we've addressed for 6 years or longer, Todd shared on his latest podcast episode. Julie, 52, added, "It is unfortunate. You know I'm not drama-filled. I do not like drama. I do not like for there to be tension in this family." At one point in Wednesday's episode, Julie claimed that when Lindsie was over 18, she actually asked me to adopt her, and I did that. Todd also questioned why Lindsie briefly changed her name on Instagram in July from Lindsie Chrisley to Lindsie Landsman. At the time of the podcast recording, however, her name was back to Lindsie Chrisley on Instagram. My thing is, you've gone on your podcast, you've gone on your social media, you've said that you changed your last name because Chrisley had hurt you with brand deals, Todd said. If you're going to change your last name, take our last name off your social media. Chase, 29, stepped in to share his theory as to why his estranged sister continues to speak negatively about the family. She's pissed off that she got kicked off the show and she didn't have that paycheck anymore, Chase claimed. That's what this is about. She's bitter about all of this. I don't really give a **** about this anymore. I don't care. Just shut up. While Todd said he's not going to feed into the drama, he assured listeners that he will address any false claims as Lindsie's podcasts continue airing. We all have moved forward, he said. We are all moving forward. Unfortunately, Lindsie has a problem in doing that. After months of whispers, speculation, and online chaos surrounding Lindsie Chrisley's explosive tell-all podcast, The Southern Tea, Todd and Julie Chrisley have finally broken their silence. For the first time since their prison release, the Chrisley family's power couple is opening up about what they call a betrayal cloaked in self-pity, and their response has sent shockwaves through the Chrisley Knows Best fanbase. It began when Lindsie released a 3-part podcast series titled Unfiltered, Growing Up Chrisley, where she detailed her strained relationship with her parents, her struggles with fame, and her version of the family's highly publicized fall from grace. The emotional episodes included tearful moments, shocking claims about control, and alleged behind-the-scenes manipulation during the family's reality TV run. But now, Todd and Julie are ready to talk, and they're not holding back. We've been silent long enough. Appearing together on Savannah Chrisley's new podcast, Unlocked. The Family Speaks, Todd began with a deep breath, his signature Southern charm tinged with exhaustion. Julie and I have always believed in protecting our children, Todd began. Even when they turn on you, even when they say things that cut to the bone. But there comes a point where silence turns into complicity, and I won't let lies rewrite our family's truth. Julie nodded softly beside him, her demeanor calm but firm. We've prayed over this for a long time, she added. We wanted to respond with grace. But as parents, it's painful to see someone you love so much use your family's pain as entertainment. For months, Todd and Julie's legal battles and time behind bars had left them publicly quiet. Meanwhile, Lindsie's podcast gained traction, painting a complicated picture of her upbringing. She spoke about emotional distance, high expectations, and the pressure of growing up in a household where image was everything. But Todd insists that version of events is not only exaggerated, it's unfair. Todd's emotional confession. When asked about his reaction to hearing Lindsie's claims, Todd grew visibly emotional. When I heard my daughter say she felt unloved, it shattered me, he confessed. Julie and I made mistakes, absolutely. But not loving her was never one of them. Our home was full of laughter, Sunday dinners, and prayer. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. He paused, his voice breaking slightly before continuing. What hurts most is knowing that she's chasing validation from strangers who don't care about her heart the way her family does. We raised her to know who she was in Christ, not to let the world define her through clicks and downloads. Julie reached over, placing her hand gently on his. He's right, she said softly. No one loves Lindsie more than we do. But love doesn't mean letting someone tear down everything you've built just to feel heard. There's always two sides. Julie Chrisley, often seen as the quiet strength behind her husband's bold personality, took a measured approach in her comments. People forget there's always two sides, she said. Lindsie went through things as a young woman that we may never fully understand. But what she didn't mention is how many times we reached out. How many times we begged her to sit down with us privately. She chose the microphone instead. Julie revealed that before Lindsie's tell-all aired, the family attempted reconciliation multiple times through private letters, counseling offers, and mutual friends. None of it worked. Forgiveness can't grow in a spotlight, Julie added. And right now she's shining that light in all the wrong places. Savannah and Chase step in. During the episode, Savannah and Chase Chrisley joined their parents briefly to share their thoughts. Both siblings expressed disappointment in Lindsie's decision to speak publicly instead of repairing things privately. It's like she doesn't realize what she's doing to our family name, Savannah said. We've worked so hard to rebuild after everything that's happened. Mom and Dad are finally free, they're healing, and then this podcast drops out of nowhere, reopening every wound. Chase added bluntly. Family doesn't always get along, but you don't cash in on your pain. You fix it behind closed doors. The Chrisleys' path to healing. Despite the pain, Todd and Julie say they're focused on forgiveness. We're not here to destroy Lindsie, Todd explained. We're here to tell our truth and remind her and the world that family is forever, even when it's fractured. Julie nodded in agreement. There's no hate in our hearts. We just hope she finds peace, the same way we've found ours. The couple also shared how their faith helped them endure the darkest chapters of their lives. From their prison sentences to rebuilding their marriage and reconnecting with their younger children, their commitment to God remains their guiding light. When we were in those cells, we prayed not for freedom first, but for forgiveness, Julie said. For the people who wronged us, and for the ones we hurt along the way. Todd added with a bittersweet smile. Maybe one day, that prayer will include reconciliation with Lindsie. Until then, we'll keep loving her from afar. Public reaction. A family divided online. Social media erupted within hours of the podcast's release. Fans split into two camps. Those siding with Lindsie's right to share her story, and those defending Todd and Julie's desire for privacy. One listener wrote, Lindsie finally found her voice. She's not obligated to protect people who never protected her. Another countered, Todd and Julie own their mistakes and are trying to move forward. Lindsie seems stuck in the past. Regardless of public opinion, one thing is clear. The Chrisleys continue to captivate America's attention, proving that their family drama still holds emotional weight even off camera. A closing message from Todd and Julie. Before wrapping up the episode, Todd looked directly into the camera, speaking not just to his daughter, but to every listener who has followed their story for years. At the end of the day, we're still the Chrisleys, he said. We fight hard, we love harder, and we forgive even when it hurts. I don't know if Lindsie will hear this, but my arms are open. They've always been open. Julie's eyes glistened with tears as she added one final note. No matter what she says, she's our daughter. And no podcast, no story, no misunderstanding will ever change that. As the outro music faded, fans were left with a mix of sadness and hope. A reminder that behind the reality TV glitz and gossip headlines, the Chrisleys are still just a family trying to find their way back to each other.